Somebody say I really love. Oh, I love the Lord. And when you think nobody has heard you, say I really love Him. I really, oh, I love the Lord. Yes, I do, because He first loved me. That's why I can say I really, oh, I love the Lord. Oh, you don't know what He's done for me. Gave me the victory. Yes, He did. Yeah. I love Him. I love. Oh, I love. Yes, I do. Say I really love. Oh, I love the Lord. Yeah, He's saying you don't what He's done for me. Gave me the victory. Yes, He did. Yes, He did. Oh, I love saying I really love the Lord. Say you don't know what He's done for me. Said He gave me a victory. Yes, He did. Oh, I love Him. I love Him. Say oh, I love Him. Yeah. Oh, I love the Lord. Yeah. You don't know what He's done. Say you don't know what He's done. You don't know what He's done. Yeah. Say it again. You don't know what He's done. He's done. Say you don't know what He's done. You don't know what He's done. Say it again. You don't know what He's done. Said He gave me the victory, and I love Him. I love Him. I love Him. Really love the Amen. I love Him because He loves me. I love Him because He loves me. And there is no other friend like Jesus. When you feeling down, there's no one who can talk to you better than Jesus can. There's no one who can wipe your tears better than He can. But it brings my heart so much joy that can't nobody else do me like. Come on. Can't nobody else do me. Can't nobody do me like. Oh, can't nobody do me. Yeah, can't nobody do me. No, because can't nobody do me like Jesus. No, can't nobody do me like the Lord said. Can't nobody do me. Yeah, Oh, because, yeah, come on, let's praise the Lord. Say, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Yeah, can't nobody do me. Yeah, can't nobody do me. Yeah, because, yeah, somebody out there saying, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Oh, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Say, can't nobody do me, no. Yeah, heal my body, heal. Yeah, and he told me, yeah, he healed my body, and he told me to run. Somebody say he healed, and he told me, yeah, because, yeah, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Yeah, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Say, can't nobody do me, no. Yeah, do I have some help me here this morning? Yeah, can't nobody say, nobody do me like Jesus. Say, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody come on and say, do me, no, because, yeah, pick me up, he picked me up, and he turned me all around. Yeah, he picked me up, placed my feet on solid ground. Somebody been there before where he picked you up and turned you all around. Do I have a witness to say that he's your friend? Pick me up, he picked me up, he picked me up, turn me around. Somebody say he turned me all around from sin, and I know he picked me up out the miry clay one day. Oh, because yeah, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Say, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Because he's my friend. Because he's mine. Somebody out there know that Jesus is mine. Have you ever been in trouble before and learned that Jesus will be your friend? Have you ever been in a storm where it was rocky and shaky, but you know that Jesus carried you through? Say, somebody out there who's been there that know what I'm talking about. Said, yeah. Do I have a witness out there who can wave their hands? Yeah, do I have a do I have another witness over here to say he is? Do I have another witness over here to say he is? Come on and say he. He's showed up.
Ask God for something. answers your prayers. Last Sunday, Dexter mentioned even after last Sunday, he's been wrestling because not long before he came here to be with us, Manali did, he lost his brother. Then mothers had to fight with cancer twice, and this is a third battle. He asked for prayers, but he mentioned he's been carrying a burden, because you ask, but you know you don't know what God's going to choose. You got to accept what he chooses, but you know when you ask because you really want him to answer the request you have. And his concern was that, Lord, get my mother through this third procedure. She's had so many different challenges, and the family's feeling so much stress, and then God doesn't just answer prayer sometimes. He just answers it in an amazing kind of way. Where the day of the surgery, she's doing well. Amen. Amen. When you realize, maybe you don't remember the last time you had a burden and needed to call on God, and you recall what it was like to be overwhelmed and realize you have no control. And you realize that if God chooses whatever he chooses, you got to accept that and respect it. We just thank God for answering our prayers on his behalf, that your mom will go with you. God bless you. We do want to be prayerful for the Churchill family. We know that there was a funeral recently we had here for her mother. And her brother was sick that weekend, and you know how some of you brothers get. You ain't got to go to the doctor, you don't need to get checked out, you won't act all right, and it's not all right. And he was battling, and she and others tried to push him to get checked out. He didn't want to find out, and so he did die. Pray for that family. She's recovering from the loss of her mother, and now, her brother. So let's pray for the Churchill family and others that may be struggling even right now. Father God, we come to you in awareness of your authoritative power, your loving goodness, and your merciful grace that you extend to us as you stretch out the threads of our lives and give us far more than we actually deserve. Yes. Pray for Sister Churchill and her family, the pain, the struggle of the loss of a mother. Then, Father, just not long after the loss of a brother, we ask you, Father, give them strength, give them grace, and give them peace that passes all understanding. Just thank you for being so good to all of us, that you have looked over us and kept us in your care, and ask a special blessing on her family. And there may be others, Father, who have recently had losses, or who are still battling losses they have had. We ask you to touch them. May we so understand this that we value the gift you've given us, and manifest the spirit that shows our awareness of the gift you've given us on this day. Thank you so much for all that you do. And ask a special blessing on those who are hurting and struggling. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Brother Young and some others are traveling. I think we have several in our family who are at the marriage retreat in Cincinnati. I think that's Sister Sheila there doing double duty with 2 children. You're strong, Sheila. Handle your business, girl. She got 2 kids up there. She's rocking one and holding the other one, boy. She got it down. So y'all pray for her. Also, our choir's out of town too this weekend, so we'll pray for both groups that are traveling. I heard Brother Young did a fantastic job last Sunday. Bless him, amen. Continue to bless him with strength and health and continued peace. Thank you for your prayers on our behalf. We're at the High Street Church of Christ in Tuscumbia. Preached there for a number of years, some years ago, and they had their 100-year anniversary of being in that location. Centennial celebration, and we had a chance to go to Alabama and enjoy their presence, to be there with them in Tuscumbia. Tuscumbia is the hometown of Helen Keller, which she was born and raised, and we thank God for His mercy and protection and grace as we travel back and forth. Then want to be appreciative for the goodness of God in something else. Michael, where's Michael? I know y'all here. Michael, you bring me up, stand. He surprised her yesterday with a proposal. Yeah! Amen. Amen. Bless you, bless you. He tricked her to going out to the canal and act like it was a regular day and proposed to her, and then they had a celebration on that proposal. Congratulations to them. Amen. God doing great things with them and through them. Y'all blessed this morning. God's been so good to all of us, and I pray that you're awake this morning, because I didn't bring any donuts and chocolate. I brought some meat this morning, so I pray that you're alert enough to eat a solid meal. Amen. For the first time together this morning. If you're not good with solid meat, you do like babies do when you give them some good strong steak, you'll start just chew it and spit the rest of it out. Well, I don't want you to get the juice out of this. I want you to get some meat out of this lesson this morning. Amen. But if you're blessed by the goodness of God this morning, I invite you to give somebody next to you a holy greeting.
Attention, the nursery is now open for children ages 4 and under. Once again, the nursery is now open for children ages 4 and under.
We ain't got no money for that.
Well, hello there. I didn't mean to stop you. I know you're trying to get somewhere.
How are you? Is my hat too big? Okay, I'll get you a nice
Okay. Y'all let me come in these hats. Y'all know I ain't short.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to see you, man. I saw you walk in. I said, I need to holler at you. We'll talk after service.
I can talk another day, but what it was, the Lord said, if you have anybody you want to have with you,
Oh, you on the sign now?
it doesn't matter. You can take it. If you need to take it, I can get it later.
Yeah, BS, okay.
Nobody said anything about that. I didn't know anything either.
Is she leaving?
No, that you have it now.
Oh, yeah, no, I put this together, you know, I want to do something special for her.
Okay.
And then, you know,
All right. That's good. But that don't mean you want to.
Yeah. I got it.
I love that. That's so cute.
Blessed by the goodness of God and appreciating His grace, I invite you to stand. Grab the hand of somebody relatively close to you. If I hold your Bible, know where your Bible is. Tell them, may grace, which is all of God's good favor, and peace, which is all of God's inner comfort, may it be with you today. From God my Father and my Lord Jesus Christ. Tell them, this is my Bible. I was what it said I was. I am what it says I am. And I will be what it says I will be. Tell them I'm here to be directed, instructed, formed, and molded into the image of God. I believe you're here for the same reason. So welcome to the Kingsview Church of Christ. Well, my God is glorified. These saints are sanctified. Our lives are changed.
Test.
As you're taking your seat, many of you may know James Thompson of Mount Clemens, Michigan. I had a school of preaching here there. Brother Thompson died also this past weekend, so we pray for those who know Mark Thompson is known by many as Mark's father. But pray for that family as they deal with the loss as well.
Are y'all ready for a word?
Yes, sir.
Are y'all ready for a word?
Amen.
Say they're about to give us some meat. I remember one time when I went for 10 days without meat. Lord. I think Satan had me in the garden somewhere. But I'm just happy to know that I can get a word from the Lord every time I come into His presence. And you ought to be happy about when you come into the Lord's presence, you're going to get something out of it. Amen. God is good. And all the time. I love to praise Him. Yes, I love to praise Him. Well, I love to praise Him. Well, you know that I love to praise in the holy name. Well, I love to praise Him. I love to praise Him. I love to praise Him. Oh, said I, yeah. Somebody say He's my rock. He is my rock, my soul, and He's that wheel that turns in the middle. Yeah, I know that you never let me down. Yeah, you're just so true. Yeah. Somebody shout and say hallelujah, hallelujah. You know I love to praise Him. Thank God, hallelujah, hallelujah. Say I love, yeah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Say I love to praise Him. Oh, I love to praise His holy name. Yeah, I love to praise Him. Yes, I love to praise Him. Somebody say I love to praise Him. Say I Do you love him? Come on, say yeah, yeah. If you got the Spirit, say he's your rock. He is your rock, your sword and the shield, and he's the will. I know that you never let me down. No, you never will. What I'm going through, you be right there to a truth. Yeah. Say hallelujah, you know I love her. Yeah, oh hallelujah. Say hallelujah, you know I praise. Somebody say hallelujah, hallelujah, you know I love her. Yeah, you know that I love to praise his holy name because he's your rock, he's my rock, he's your rock, your sword, and he's that wheel that keeps on turning in the middle of that wheel. Yeah, you never left my side when I was going through struggles and pain. You were true that I found. Hallelujah, say hallelujah, you know I love her. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, you know I thank God. Hallelujah, say hallelujah, you know I love her. Come on and say I love to pray. Come on, say I love to pray. Come on and sing it. I love to pray. Come on and sing it. I love to pray. If God has been good, been good over your life, you want to praise his name. You want to praise his name. You want to shout hallelujah. You want to shout hallelujah. He's been so good to me. I know he's been good to you. 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 I'm looking at a testimony. I'm looking at a testimony. I'm looking at a testimony. He woke you up this morning, started you on your way, put food on your table. I know my God is able. I know my God is able. I know my God is able. I look at my hands, look at my hands and look new. I look down at my feet if they need to. That's why when I get the chance to tell somebody about God, I'm gonna use my hands. I'm gonna use my hands. I'm gonna use my mouth to give God all the praise. Somebody ought to say something. 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 Well, you know that praise him, say I love to praise you. I love to praise. Somebody say I love to praise. Somebody say I love to praise. I just get happy when I think about the Lord. I'm telling you, I just get so excited. Yeah. Well, you know that I come on to a praise him. I love to praise you. I love to praise you. Come on. I love to praise. Praise the mighty name of Jesus. 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 Come on, let's go home. You know that I love. Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Finding Romans
Thank you, Lord.
5. Romans chapter is number 5. As you prepare to look at this pericope text, I invite you to look at someone near you and ask them, do you live by death and sin or by the gift? Amen. Before we read this text, I need to make sure I reaffirm some things with you. That the Christian, if that's what you are, you should be desiring the Word of God. You should be, and I'm going to share with you that sometimes I do agree with the sister who was hanging clothes out on the line behind her house, and the brother came by her house on Monday morning. He said to her, how you doing? She said, well, sis, she said, well, bro, I'm doing great today. She said, I didn't see you in worship on yesterday. He said, yeah. He said, I'll be honest with you, I just didn't come. I just stayed home. He said, so, you know, he said, what was the sermon about on Sunday morning? She said, oh, bless my soul. She said, I just, that word just touched my heart. It just molded me. He said, wow, really? So it was powerful. He said, well, what was the lesson? Was the text? Was the lesson? She said, it was what was that passage? What did he say about that? How did that go? He said, it was good, but he said, well, did you go that night? She said, yeah, that night. Oh, praise the Lord. That night I just put all through me. He said, well, that's wow. He said, well, what was the lesson about that night? She said, well, that night it was how do you say that thing? It was oh God, that was so good. He said, well, sis, he said, I wasn't there. She said, in clothes on the line with a clothes bag. He said, I wasn't there. He said, and I don't know what was said. Either you were there, and you don't know what was said. He said, so you really in no better shape than I'm in. So she had just hung the last piece of clothing on the line. She said, well, would you do me a favor, take this basket, clothes basket, down to the lake right there and fill it with water and bring it back up. He said, well, if I take this basket down there and fill it with water and bring it back up, by the time I get back, it'll be out of water because it's a clothes basket. She said, it will be, but it will be cleaner. So receiving the word and not retaining it makes you cleaner. But receiving it and retaining it is better. Can I be honest with you? Your memory ain't that good. You tend to remember less than 10% of what you hear. And when there's a lot in something, you're going to miss a lot. Because if you don't take the time to record it. See, I've been to conferences. Have you ever been to a conference you had to pay for? I mean, you ever pay for information? You ever sit in a college class? You pay to go to college. And what people do in college classes, they actually take what's called notes. They do that because they figure if I'm going to retain information, I need a plan to retain it. So I'm going to share things with you that I've shared before, some of it, but if you have not retained it, it's because you've not recorded it. Amen? That having been said, we're studying out of the book of Romans. You should remember from your being a studious child of the Word of God, because understand, as a child of God, you eat on God's Word. Jesus said, these words I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. So the child of God believes the Word of God consists of spirit life, that they feed upon to transform their mindset. How they think. So the book of Romans is about righteousness, or what it means to be right in the sight of God. I have shared with you before, which I'm sure is deeply embedded inside your spiritual minds, that you would outline the book of Romans with 5-letter S's. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And those 5 S's are sin, salvation, sanctification, sovereignty, and service. That's what the book talks about. He talks about sin, chapter 1, 2, and 3, that all are sinners. Chapter 4, 5, and 6, about what's required to be saved. Chapter 6, 7, 8, about sanctification, because the plan of God and the goal of God is not to save you. It's to sanctify you. It's to transform you back into his image. We talked about that on this morning. And then chapter 9 through 11 talks about the sovereignty of God, and 12 through 16 about service. Now, that being said, I want to invite you to stand. Chapter 5, focus on grace. Stand for the reading, if you would, of this powerful text. Romans chapter 5. Here are the words that's in this word he expressed beginning at verse number 12. This verse alone is the bulk of the lesson, but there's a lot in one verse. This is pregnant with thought, if you will. Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, and in this way death came to all people because all sinned. We'll look at that in extensive depth this morning. He goes on to write this. To be sure, sin was in the world before the law was given. But sin is not charged against anyone's account where there is no law. What he's trying to tell us is that the law of Moses was given for the purpose of making sure you knew how messed up you were. In other words, if speeding is in your heart and there is no speed limit, you don't know in your heart you're a speeder. If you got a thieving heart and you live in a culture where everything is given, we don't know you got a thieving heart until there's a law that says don't steal. So by that token, the writer is saying that when you look into the law, before the law was given, man was still a sinner before God gave a standard. Nevertheless, verse 14, death reigned. Don't forget that. Death reigned. Sin reigned and death reigned from the time of Adam to the time of Moses, even over those who did not sin by breaking a command, as did Adam, who is a pattern, a typos of the one to come. Finishing up this text, he says, yes. But the gift is not like the trespass. But the many died by the trespass of the one man. How much more did God's grace and the gift that came by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, overflow to the many? Nor can the gift of God be compared with the result of one man's sin. The judgment followed one sin and brought condemnation, but the gift followed many trespasses and brought justification. For if by the trespass of the one man death reigned through that one man, how much more will those who receive God's abundant provision of grace and of the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus the Christ? You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. What in the world did we just read? Well, first of all, I want you to understand this. Before you can understand our present situation, before you can get your mind around where we are right now, you've got to understand life before man even sinned. You can't get your mind around the world we live in now if you don't really comprehend what it was really like. You can't understand the position and where African American folk are now if you don't understand what happened in slavery. You cannot understand your present with no comprehension of your past. If you don't know where you came from, you have no idea how to go forward. The old saying is, those who fail to learn from the past are destined to repeat it. So first of all, I need to make sure you understand clearly what it was like before man actually sinned. And the best way to understand that, see, before Adam sinned, in Genesis 9, Noah is finally let off the boat with his family. And an attempt to reboot, as though your computer, you reboot it, right? To reboot life, he gives the first set of standards that Adam had back to Noah. His was told to Noah, which gives you insight, was probably told actually to Adam. God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. Same command Adam had been given. Hear this, the fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on all the birds in the sky, and on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea. They're given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you green plants, I now give you everything. Before Adam sinned, Adam lived in a different kind of world than you and I live in. You've got to understand life before sin to comprehend life after sin. And to look at life before sin, look at this from Adam's perspective. Adam sinned this world. First, Adam and God hung out together. I don't know if you can comprehend what it must have been like to hang out with God. Some of the most precious memories of my own life are memories of the times I hung out with my own father. I recall times we went fishing in the boat. As a child, I would get in the nose of the boat, we'd go out and then I'd wake up and we'd be out there in the water and we'd sit out and fish. I recall precious memories of sitting there fishing with I recall moments where I would sit down and just talk for hours with him, because there was just something special as a son to sit there and have a conversation with my father. He always had wisdom I had not contemplated. He always had a perspective I needed to hear. He was a man who had set an example and a standard. I hope to be the man my daddy was, an old school song would say. So there's a special affinity in the relationship to sit there and have a conversation with my father, to just be in his presence. Matter of fact, the most precious memory in my mind of him was one day in Southeast Texas, sitting in the backyard on a rocking, not a hammock, but a swing. Yeah, I'm not sure what a glider is. That's more sophisticated. We had a swing in the back, and I was just sitting there, swinging on a swing, talking to him, and eating some watermelon. The weather was perfect. I can't recall what we talked about. I can't recall. The greatest thing I recall is just him and I laughing, talking, and smiling. And Laura can testify. Every time we go visit, I would barely get any rest, because we would be up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just talking up until we fall asleep, wake up and talk. And I just loved hanging out with my dad. What must it have been like for Adam to love hanging out with his dad? Could you imagine the things that God could share with Adam? I mean, things that I will never ever hear on this side of earth. Imagine what God shared with Adam, expressed to Adam. He heard things you could not comprehend. And I could imagine Adam like a child with his mouth hung open, thinking, wow, what? In bewilderment about the reality of life. And talking to God. The Bible said before Adam sinned, it was just God and Adam. Understand this, Adam and God just hung out together in the cool of the day. I can imagine Adam thinking, it got to be getting close to time. Daddy coming back. Well, God comes up. And Adam was a smaller manifestation of God. God says, this world, son, is yours. You name your stuff. Name the animals, boy, they're yours. Name the trees and the plants, they're yours. Name all of it. Name it all. It's all yours. Adam and God hung out every day. I couldn't begin to imagine how great that must have been. That was life before sin. Secondly, Adam and nature. Nature would bend to Adam's will. Never rain, no problem with weather, no storm, no thunder and lightning. Grass respected. And understand this, life, the earth you're living on is alive. If it wasn't alive, you couldn't get plants out of it. You drop a seed inside of something that's alive, and something alive comes up out of it, because the earth itself is alive. And Adam had a relationship with the very nature that he lived in. It would bend to his will. He could never plant a seed and it not come up. The relationship he had with nature. And let me share, there are people who worship nature. There are folks who have a context of nature. And I don't know, in my office sometime when I'm counseling, and sometimes when I need to get my mind together, I turn on YouTube with this 4K channel, and I get these nature sounds. And it sounds like trickling water down the river, or sounds of the ocean weaving back and forth, or the sounds of crickets at night. We've done some camping, and when you go camping, there's something special about camping, because you're like out there in nature. And remember, there was a time with Adam where nature and man were friends. I like camping, but I know we ain't friends no more. Because now I gotta have a light. I don't trust nature. A light and a gun. Because everything out there ain't my friend. But Adam lived in a world where even nature was connected to him. Beyond that, Adam and the creation, everything that existed respected Adam. If Adam came walking through, ants got out the way. A lion or a tiger. Now I want you to understand something. This is what it means to be a man. Adam would walk in everything out of it, because it's his world. When Adam named the creature, he didn't go say, well, now where are the lions? No, they knew Adam was looking for y'all. They show up. It's his world. And when you run your world, everything come talking to you. It come before Adam. It was Adam. Everything that was created by God was in Adam's hand, and every creature respected and valued Adam. Every bird, every fish, every creature, if it existed, it respected and valued, because he's the first man. God made him as his image. God stamped. There's nothing else on this earth with the stamp of God like man. And everything God made knew it. So everything get out of Adam's way. The creation respected him and valued him and loved him. He was responsible for nature and the creation. Then Adam and Eve. The Bible says it was naked and not ashamed. She didn't have no old boyfriend. Wasn't no mother-in-law around. They had this environment, they had a relationship that you can't have right now. Because there was such a level of openness and innocence and candor. They could experience the wonders of life together. No jealousy, no disrespect, no devaluing. And let me share something with you. Eve respected Adam because it was Adam's world. You name what's yours. I am Ish, I am man. She is Isha. She is man with womb. She is to be called womb man. How can you name her? She's mine. She's mine, and the animal's mine, and the birds are mine. All that's mine. And they were naked. In the world Adam lived in, there was no issues. Let me help you with something. I'll come back to that. We're going to talk about women in just a minute. So and last but not, and before sin, Adam didn't understand fear. So before sin, Adam never experienced failure. Never tripped, never hurt himself, never stubbed his toe, never bumped his head. Nothing he ever tried didn't work. Fear didn't exist. Anything he put his mind to do, he could do. If he climbed a tree, he wasn't going to fall down. Because things didn't go wrong. Everything always went well. Adam lived in a world initially where he was tight with God, he was tight with nature, tight with creation, tight with Eve, and tight with himself. There was no pressure, there was no, and when you talk about what a man is made to be like Adam. Adam was like that because Adam was connected to his maker. I don't care what a man has or what he looks like or what he thinks about himself. He will never become the man a man's supposed to be until he connects with the one that made him. That's who Adam was. Not this weak-kneed, mamby-pamby kind of man folk talk about like Eve made him take of a fruit. Let me share this with you first of all. The first and second Adam, the first Adam sinned. Second Adam did not sin. The first Adam made excuses and suffered. The second one suffered and did not open his mouth. The first one was a physical being thought in the form of God, though in the form of God. The second was a spiritual being, though in the form of man. The first one, death comes through him. The second one, life comes from him. Before sin entered, Adam and Eve were innocent and sinless. All God's creatures were peaceful pets. A beautiful river flowed through Eden. The tree of life grew in the garden. They walked and talked with God. A perfect environment where everything is right all the time. That's the world they actually lived in. And then sin entered, the text says, by one man. Here's the text. Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, sin came through Adam. Now, let me address this woman issue real quick. See, women are often accused for sin. It was not the woman's decision that messed up the world. It was the man's. Because he was responsible for the world.
Come on now.
He made a decision he should not have made. Adam was not a weak-kneed, mamby-pamby, no conscience kind of man who Eve said, you better take that fruit, boy. I don't want to take the fruit, baby. God said no. Take the fruit. Don't make me eat it. First of all, understand this. The key, this verse is the key to history. This is why the world is the way it is. Adam did not start sin. The devil started sin. See, the devil, Satan, started sin when he rebelled against God. You read the book of Jude and 2 Peter talks about this idea in other texts. But when the devil rebelled against God and fought with angels, that's when sin entered into the realm of existence. So Adam didn't start sin. However, Adam introduced sin to the creation by being an agent of the devil. See, the devil got things so messed up that Adam felt he had to make a decision between Eve and God.
Yeah.
Trying to help a brother up in here.
Come on now.
If you come down and got to decide, is it going to be God or the woman? That's what messed up Adam.
Yeah.
He just couldn't. Same mistake that Abraham made. Sarah says, I feel bad. In my age, I ain't give you no kids. It's got to be my fault. God said you're going to have a child. You ain't had one yet, so I don't know. come on, Hagar. You go be with Abram, and we're going to fix this thing. And Abram said, well, I don't know, baby. I mean, that's, you know, no, I'm telling you, I'll feel better. You be with Hagar and have a child. Well, I mean, you know, you sure about this? Well, yeah, I mean, I feel better. God say you're going to have a child, and so therefore you do this, and that'll solve the problem. All right? I mean, you know. Once Hagar get pregnant, type of attitude, walk around the house, say what shows like an Abraham face. Your fault. You knew you want her all along. She said, that girl has disrespected me in my face, and it's your fault. And Abraham said, my name is Bennett, and I ain't She your handmaid? That's your thing? I'm out of this. But that's why you got problems with Arabs now. Because that's where the whole nation come from. Ishmael. When Adam sinned, it infected everything. Not when Eve sinned. Eve sinned. But Eve didn't change anything because God gave it to Adam. And because Adam sinned, it infected the whole creation. Because Adam sinned, because of Adam's sin, Adam's sin, which degraded Adam. It changed him. He was no longer the man he was before. He said he was an entirely different type of man. Now he's got fear. Now he's got insecurities. Now he's got uncertainty. Now he's not sure what to happen. Now he's frustrated. He's confused. He don't know how to lead or not. Now Adam is all messed up. And everybody that comes from Adam is also messed up. So Adam's sin messed up Adam, and anybody Adam births is messed up because they come from somebody who's messed up. Sin entered the world by one man, and it introduced an unknown. No matter what you say about women, Adam was not tricked. The Bible's clear. Adam was not tricked or fooled. Eve was tricked. Adam was not tricked or fooled. What does that mean, preacher? Well, that actually means that he was not Eve did not manipulate Adam. Baby, would you, I think it's a nice fruit to try. Well, we tried a nice fruit. No, if you understand the dynamic of leadership, I love my kids. I love my grandkids. I love all of them. But ain't now one gonna tell me what to do. Now, when I get to the place, I'm in a wheelchair. I can't figure bread from orange. And you're going to say this is best for you. I respect that. But as much as I love my kids, they all know. You're not going to walk with no grown man and say, well, you know, eat this, do this. That's a request. Because you're not going to tell no grown man what to do. Because my children came from me. I'm the one that birthed, well, you know. Well, I know what you mean. I helped. Birthed them. And so therefore, in no context, I know I'm saying stuff that goes counter to culture. But and my kids know, I don't care how big you get, I don't care what you got, you ain't ever gonna disrespect me. That ain't a part of life. We gonna battle. And we're going to battle, and don't let the time come when I ain't got to take care of you. I ain't got no issue telling you to sleep on the street and make the curb your pillow. I mean, that's cool with me. But you're not going to disrespect me when I'm the one who's taking care of you. So the point is the idea that if I'm the one in charge, I'm responsible and I'm accountable for you. How you gonna come tell me to do something? How is Eve and Adam in a world where everything has respected him from the after sin? Now that sin has happened, birds don't respect you. They don't trust you. You get near a bird nest, they will jump on you. Matter of fact, flies ain't got no respect for you. They won't just land on you, but guess what they'll do? They will irritate you, and somebody will tell you what to do when they do land on you. They ain't just landing because they ain't got nothing better to do. They take a whole lot in, they got to put it out somewhere. And guess what you are? A handy receptacle. A flea has no respect for you. A mosquito will slap you every time they get a chance. Because nature doesn't respect you. Everything is in turmoil. Every hurricane, every volcano, every storm, every thunder, every lightning, every insect that is irritating you does that because you are no longer respected because Adam sinned. And it was not because the woman convinced him or made him do anything. Adam was old man. And here's what he did. He walked right into sin with a manly rebellion and eyes wide open and a mind made up. Now, I believe it's because he loved Eve so much. And she was bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. And she done messed up and took it as fruit. And he shows up around the time she finished taking it. He shows up there and she said, honey, I've eaten the fruit. What? You ate the fruit? That God said, because there's no indication he was ever tempted to eat of the fruit. The Bible's clear, he didn't have a desire to do that, but she'd already messed up. He's got to make a decision. Am I going to love her and stand by her side? Am I going to love her and let her go down by herself? She bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Ain't no other one around. I got more ribs, but I ain't, you know. But the text says he chose to take of the fruit. He wasn't tricked. He wasn't manipulated. He wasn't talked into it. And bear in mind, before sin, fear didn't exist. Tears didn't exist. Could you imagine what Eve did the moment she took of that fruit and realized about sin? Fear hit her. Have you ever been hit by fear? I mean, the fear that paralyzed you? Imagine Eve, who's never had a negative emotion in her life. All of a sudden, everything hit her. Fear, pain, struggle, everything. And then she looked at Adam. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm afraid. What's wrong with you? I'm afraid. What that mean? And he decides to go with her. He transgressed, offended, which means he disobeyed God. He introduced into the creation something unknown. Something that never existed before entered the creation, and from that moment, everything got messed up. The weather goes bad. The wind starts fighting against you. The ground is all messed up. Even the plants are messed up. Even the stuff, the ground itself is now cursed. And so if the ground is cursed, and you're eating food from the ground, guess what's getting inside you? What blows my mind is in sometime in the news they say, well, you know, tomatoes are good for you. They say, well, no, don't eat tomatoes, they're bad for you. Beans are good for you. No, beans are bad for you. Butter's good for you. No, butter's bad for you. Eat chicken. Don't eat no meat at all. Because it doesn't matter, the earth is messed up. You're going to die. I'm sorry to break it to you like that. But plants, the dirt, birds, fish, everything against you. You don't believe that? Let a shark get close to you. Yeah, he ain't got no respect for you. Go talk to a shark if you want to. Anacondas, they will snatch you up. So understand this. So death ended by sin, right? The text identifies this fact. God said, you sin, you die. Death is not supposed to be natural. Death is not natural. God didn't make you to die. He made you live. So death is not supposed to be natural for us. That's why you don't want it. Who wants to go to heaven? Anybody? Who want to go right now? Most of y'all saying, I'm fine with going, but I get the going thing, but you get in the truckload right now. I went on the next truck. I ain't got to go this week. See, most of us don't want death because death is unnatural. You are made with God's image, who is eternal. So it's not natural to die. And because it's unnatural for us, you tend to avoid what's not natural. You are made in the image of God, and death is an invader. It's an intruder that's coming to the scene and mess things up. But the soul that sins, now the Bible says, the soul that sins will die. In Romans 6:23, the wages of sin is death. Hebrews 9 says death is a penalty. It says that there's an appointment called death. Why does death happen? Why does death exist? Are we sinners because we sin, or do we sin because we're sinners? Are we sinners because we sin, or do we sin because we're sinners? First of all, you sin because you're a sinner. The Bible says, and our text in Romans 5 says this, it says, because of sin, death is in the world. So, because sin exists, death exists. If you never sinned, maybe you wouldn't die. Babies die. No. There is something we got out of Adam that you can't shake free of. There's something in you that's naturally just want to do wrong. And you know what's crazy about that? You can look in the church and see the same thing in church. People come to God in a worship and they just as rebellious in the church as they are in the world. That's because we got goats with sheep. God bless you. No, we sin because we are sinners, because we receive something, but we are also sinners because we sin. I suffer the consequence of death because I'm a sinner, but I also make decisions that mean I sin. So we're caught on both ends. The point is that death entered by what? By sin. Death entered the equation by sin. We die because sin already has invaded you before you get here. Okay, I'm not going to get this all to you because this is really maybe a little bit too sensitive for some ears to hear. Circumcision in the Old Testament, notice only men got circumcised. Not women, but men. Circumcision is God's way of establishing for man to have a relation with him that man, not woman, man needed a surgical procedure. And the part of his body that he uses to procreate. Because of procreation, he's going to create some more sinners. We'll do that in a more adult session together. But death entered because of sin. Understand this, that so death spread to all men. The text says, therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death came through sin, and this way death came to all people because all have sinned. So none are righteous, no, not one. Everybody's a sinner. Sin is a power that can't be ignored. It feeds off our actions and choices. We are all a part of it. You need to admit the reality that because you are here, you've been infected by sin. The Bible talks about the reign of sin and the reign and the dominion of sin and death. That sin runs things. And death runs things. I don't care if you live in an Arab country or a Christian or Jewish country or India or Asian or African or European. It doesn't matter, or Hispanic. It doesn't matter where you come from. Everybody sins. And everybody is infected by sin, and everyone is infected by death. Death came because of sin. And because of that reality, now we are all infected by the nature that came from Adam. So sin and death reigned. The Bible says it reigned. Sin brought in death. Open paper, you open your newspaper, look at your TV set, you'll find out, you see prison, divorce, crime rate, drugs, that should be drugs, hate, funeral homes, all that is the result of sin impacting death. So death has a power, a domination, and it reigns. Death exists because sin exists. Death exists because sin exists, and sin exists because we exist. Because we the sinners. We the ones that's no good. Sin and death reign, but that's the bad news. We sin because we have a heart, so we sin. We sin because we have a heart that's not in sync with God. Because you act like you don't know Him. That's why you sin. And it's natural because your nature is connected to Adam, who messed up before you got here. And you ain't got to know Adam for Adam to mess you up. E equals MC squared. That's what the famous mathematician Einstein came with. You don't know what that means. Nobody, when he first did it, only 12 people understood it. But when the atom bomb went off 40 years later, everybody got it. Because once he did that and established what atomic energy was, it laid a foundation that impacted the whole world. And now the world has never changed from the reality of knowing that. One man is the decision and affects everybody. Understand the dynamics there? So sin and death reign. So understand this, because of that, now here's the reality. We have verse 17, for by the trespass of the one man, that's Adam, death reigned, it ran everything. Through that one man, how much more will those who receive God's abundant provision of grace and of the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ? Death power is past tense. The new power is the power of life. Death had power, sin had power, and if you're a part of the family of God, you have a message. The message is power of death and sin is over. And now God has given me a message to let you know you have access to life. Life, not just life, but life and grace. What's the origin of the gift? Well, the title. Because of Jesus, the power of God has been unleashed in this world. Adam brought a trespass. Jesus brings the gift. The gift brings life, grace, justification, and obedience. We pass into the life of Jesus. We enter a mission that participates in the life and the grace of God. When you decide to become a part of the family of God, you enter a mission in life that says, Lord, I am now here to tell all the people who have been infected by sin, infected by death, that now they got access to grace and life. What is grace, preacher? Well, what this is, although the loss and reign of Adam, everybody knows that Adam had power and lost it, but I declare that you can now reign again. You lost your power, you lost your strength, you lost your power, you lost your might, but now you can reign. Grace is a gift that costs everything for the giver and nothing for the receiver. Grace, scandalous grace. What have you done now? You have taken undeserving, spiritually dead, unrighteous ones and given them the free gift of right standing with an almighty, holy God. Grace has said it's messed up and it's jacked up and it's evil as you have been in your life. It says that God will look at you and God will say, I don't even care how messed up you are. Now, people don't treat you that way. We ain't going to forget what you did. But God says, by my grace I extend to you, I'll accept you. Oh, this is small. Yeah. Grace means undeserved kindness. It is the gift of God to man. The moment he sees he is unworthy of God's favor. Grace is what God gives when you realize you ain't worth it. As long as you think you got some value and think you all that, a couple bags of cookies and a pack of chips, then as long as you think that way, God is not going to do anything with you. Because if he does something with you then, you're going to think you did it. he won't use you till you realize you're not deserving what he does. So you got a choice of Adam or Christ. Adam's sin condemned all, Christ's act saved all. Adam made us sinners, Christ made us sinless. Adam brought offense, Christ brings a free gift. Death to justification, disobeying made sinners, obeying made us righteous. God has transformed us by adding us into his family. So as we close out this lesson, when we wallow in guilt, remorse, and shame over real or imagined sins of the past, we're disdaining God's gift of grace. What I love about God is the realization, and Romans teaches, you will never be good enough to be saved.
That's right.
It ain't worth it. You'll never be smart enough, you'll never be right enough, you'll never be good enough. You will not attend enough worship services, you're not reading enough Bible scriptures. You will never be good enough to be saved. Grace is a gift that God gives, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourself is the gift of God, Ephesians 2 verse 8. There's nothing about you that can save you, and that's what makes it a gift. It's something that God gives you that you need. Grace in life now reigns, and so because grace in life reigns, death is a tyrant that reigned, but now we have access to this life. And I declare to you, what this means is that God makes you a partner with him. If you are part of the family of God, you are partnered with God, and that means that he will now expect you to share the message of life. Any of y'all ever watch zombie movies? There's a movie that Will Smith was in. It was called I Am Legend. And I Am Legend, what he does is, people have lost their mind, they're taken over by some kind of infection, and it's changed them. He spends every night out taking chances to capture messed up people and drag them into this basement and do experiments, doing the best he can to find what is that thing that can save people. What is that thing that I can use to bring them back to life? What is that? He spends the whole movie taking chances, living in a world by himself, because he's trying to find the answer to how can I redeem people back? How can I get them back into a healthy place? What must happen? And at the end of the movie, he's finally found the answer. He's found the cure. This is it. This one vow has the answer to save all of mankind. He takes the lady and the boy, y'all saw the movie, and put him inside this secure place. He said, I'm going to die here, but I don't mind dying as long as you get the answer to somebody that can help everybody. That's what God did. Except it's not a vow. It's on the side of each and every believer.
Yes.
You are the answer. You're the answer for a crazy world. You're the answer for people shooting each other in the streets. You're the answer for murder and for hatred, and every vile thing happens inside this world. You're the answer. And if God makes you the answer, why do you hide? The crazy thing is, the second after you die, you won't care what nobody thought about you. Well, if I say something about Jesus, they're going to think I'm crazy. Maybe when you die, we're going to think you're crazy too. Everybody not going to like you. Stand for something. If you love God like you say you do, act like you love him. Tell folks that you I love you. I can't stand on the sideline and watch you lose your soul. I know how real death is because we're living. All of us are going to die. A time is going to come. We're not going to be here. I'm here to shout the trumpet. There's an answer for your pain. There's an answer for your loss. There's an answer for your hurt. There's an answer for your addiction. Every struggle you have, there's an answer. And God gave it to you. And if they don't hear the message, God did not put the preacher or the elders or the deacons in your family. He put you there. You own that job. You in that department, that apartment. You in that community. You in that house. You in that family. Those are your friends. Those are your enemies. You own them. Don't you call them my enemies? You call yours what's yours. How can it be your enemy if you don't own it? How do you take it and give it back. Stop ducking your responsibility. Stop hiding while you're here. Realize that God has given you responsibility, given you favor. Sin and death reign, it's past tense. But now, the reign of grace and life, he will give you life right now that will make you strong and vibrant and you can stand. But every child of God has been called to tell a dying and lost world, I have the antidote. For every pain, every struggle, every complication, God gave it to me. They shouldn't die. Are you part of sin, death, or the gift? Because folk won't get from you one of the three. You're here this morning. I know there's been lengthy, but there's a lot of meat. You can't eat meat fast.
No, that's right.
But I want to challenge you. I can eat a Snickers bar pretty quick, though. But the reality is, God has put you for a reason. If you're in the family of God, you've got a mission to tell folks the good news. There's an answer. There's a reason why you're unhappy. There's a reason why you cry at night. There's a reason why you're so frustrated. There's a reason why you got all this pain in your life. The reason why you can't deal with the fact that you lost your mother, lost your daughter, lost your son, lost your cousin. There's a reason for that. It wasn't supposed to happen, but I've got an answer called life. Yes. If you receive that gift, God will help you even right now. I don't know what battle you've been facing, what your challenge in life has actually been. I do want you, God has called you to tell somebody, but somebody in your life is lost. Somebody who you ought to be communicating with. Before you leave this building today, I would invite you to send a text to someone and let them know you want to tell them something about life. They deal with death all the time, and they deal with sin. But they need to know you got an answer for their battle. I don't know what you've been facing all this week. I do know that man has lost his place, but I thank God you can regain it. You can stand strong, you can be vibrant, healthy, and this is really free. I always tell men, sometimes I hear men say, well, I need a good woman so I can be a good man. No. No, you don't. No, you don't. No. Man was man before woman was here. A woman might know what a good man looked like, but a woman can't make a good man. It takes men to do that. You ain't got no, bad language makes good sense. You ain't got no good men around you, you can't be a good man. You're going to be like whatever you're around. If they raggedy, welcome to rags. If they're wise and make sound decisions, welcome to a life of wisdom and sound decisions. But stop looking for a woman to make you better. Amen. Thank God for women. Praise the Lord. I couldn't imagine, like, brother, say amen if you can. Yeah. However, being man is about seeking to be what God made you to be. Connect to God and some godly men, and you'll lead your family. And a woman who might fight you sometime will respect and follow a man who knows where he's going. Ladies, say amen if you can. So I want to challenge you even right now. If you're not a Christian, here's the first step for getting to what God wants you to be. First of all, you got to hear the word of God you have this morning. Believe what you heard. Have a change of mind that says no to my way, yes to God's way. I'm tired of fighting all this craziness and do what God wants me to do. Decide you're going to stand and confess this morning the sweetest name you can declare. Confession really declares, I want Jesus to be my Lord, my Kyrios. I want him to direct the path of my life. What does that mean, preacher? I want to be what Adam messed up on. I want to be what a man's supposed to be. A woman's supposed to be. Also as God's replica of the man. I want to be what God wants me to be. And that confession, we baptize you and add you to God's family. And you link up with some brothers and sisters that can help you be strong. It's a lie to say you're strong all by yourself. I ain't got to go to church. Well, you don't go to church. Maybe you are the church. You don't go to you. You come to us. We all hook up together. But that's because you need us and we need you. You're here this morning. If you're not a Christian, I want to challenge you. Don't walk out of here like you came in here. Make a decision that now it's time to be what I need to become. I need a foundation. Your life will only be as strong as a foundation that you build on top of. If it's on top of dirt and sand, that's all you got. Look how pretty the house is. A beautiful house is worth nothing built on sand. If your foundation is not right, everything's all messed up. If you're here and you're not a believer, you're not inside the family of God, you need to come while you can. If you're here and you're in the family and somehow you got lost, the world caught your attention, you've been so dragged around, you stopped being what you're supposed to be. You ain't told nobody about the Lord. You're not saying, come worship with me, come meet the Lord. You got to fix that while you still can. Make your life have value. You have a call. Live up to your calling and be the one that declares the goodness of God and share the gift. And I want you to do it right now as you stand and sing. I invite you.
I'm glad I know you. Oh Lord, I'm glad you know me. You know me. We praise our God because we're one big family. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We lift our hands. Oh, we lift our hands to reach the sky. And I'm so glad that you gave your good life, your life.
I don't know anybody whose sins not messed up your life in some way. Maybe it wasn't your intention to do some bad choice you made, but let's be honest, wasn't your first one, and sure enough not your last. But because of the goodness of God, He knows how bad you can mess things up. And what I love about God, He loves you so much, He don't even care. Paul said, I'm the chief of sinners because I killed all Christians. And yet he realized because of the goodness of God, it doesn't matter how bad I messed up. And the great thing about God, even right now, with where you are, what you've been through, you can decide right now it's time to do some things differently and submit myself to the direction and the purpose that God has for my life. You're not accidentally here. There's a purpose for why you live. And the worst thing in life is live your whole life and have no idea why you were even here. You won't find that until you find the one that made you, who defined the reason He let you be here right now. And friend, if you're not a part of the family of God, I want to encourage you to come. If you raise your hand, I'll walk with you. Someone next to you can walk with you. If you know that right now you're not where you need to be in a connection with the God that made you, I invite you to come. But if you're here and you're part of the family of God, somehow you've gotten distracted. Somehow the devil has been so good at getting you confused like Adam that now you're an agent of Satan. And instead of folk coming to the Lord, they leave Him or never think about Him because of you. And when you die, all they can say about you is how good you can curse folk out, how bad your attitude was, how slick you were when you lived your life, how good of a liar you were, and nothing about you had value. Don't let that be your legacy. You're here, let God bless you. If you know that you need prayer, He does answer prayer. If you raise your hand, I'll walk with you. We can pray together. But there's an answer, and there's an answer right now. Again, I invite you to come. Receive the gift of God right now as we sing. I invite you to come.
Your life. Oh, I'm glad I know you. I'm glad I know you.
Let the Lord bless you.
Oh, and it's
so big, don't try so hard.
Glad you know me. Oh, we praise our God.
This is your opportunity.
Oh, we praise Him because we're one. I love you. so glad, I'm so glad that you gave your life, you gave your life.
Has God been good to you? Oh, He has. You hear, someone said recently, bless my soul. If you don't think you're blessed, ask somebody who's blind if you're blessed. You don't think you're blessed? Ask somebody who doesn't have feet if you're blessed. You don't think you're blessed? Ask them with no hands who can't touch, feel, or feed themselves. Ask them if you're blessed. If you don't have ears to hear, ask someone if you're blessed. If you're blessed. You're blessed. God has been good to you. And it doesn't take much to be ungood in your life. Be thankful for the gifts He gives you. Amen. Thank you for your patience as we study together. The challenge to take Romans 5. We read just skim verse 12 and part of the 2 of the verse. This is a chapter that's so full. You couldn't possibly do this in a month. But I wanted to just give you a piece of this. I think it's so essential about how we think about who we are and what God's trying to do to mold and impact the direction of our life. Thank you for your patience. I'll do a challenge to take the text home with you. Spend some time with it and come prepared to take notes because you didn't keep all that stuff. But God will bless you as you allow the word to sink inside you. Now, as always, I want to commend you to God and to the words of His grace, which are able to build you up and give you an inheritance among all of us who are the sanctified. As I take my seat, invite you once more, look at someone next to you and tell them, are you giving up sin and death or life? May God bless you. You can ask them, are you giving out sin and death or life? Are you giving out sin and death? Bless you, bless you.